You get what you think about. And sometimes you don't even know you're thinking about it. You don't even know you've been thinking about it, but you know, your thought is where you last left it. And so when you have an opportunity to realize where your thought is, then you have an opportunity to do something about it. You're sort of getting the sense of what we're talking about. You do create your own reality, but most think that you create it by sitting down and writing out your goal list, or by sitting down and making your statements of intent. And that's a nice thing to do. It's really a step one thing to do. I want this. My life has shown me through experience that I prefer this to this. But that's just the beginning, because once you have identified something that you prefer, you must become a vibrational match to what you prefer. A vibrational match to what you prefer. So how can I be a vibrational match to what I prefer when I'm living what I don't prefer? We know it's a little tricky. It takes a lot of focus. It takes caring about the way you feel. And it takes an awareness of what's going on within you vibrationally, so that you can sort of work the vibrational bugs out of it and be in a more receptive mode. And so as you're moving through your day-to-day experiences, you are getting lots of post-manifestational experiences that show you what you've been doing vibrationally. But so often you just take the experience and you chalk it off to something else. That airline is harder on luggage than other airlines, you say. Well, if that's your conclusion, then that airline will continue to be the path of least resistance through which you create that reality that you do not want. But it does not have to be that way. That's the thing that we want you to hear. You do create your own reality, and you create your own reality through the thoughts that you think. But you got to be aware of the thoughts that you're thinking. And sometimes the thoughts that you're thinking are pretty subtle until they gain some momentum. And once they gain some momentum, then they become more manifesting in your experience. And so most humans are doing what Esther was doing, wanting to give the credit to the airline instead of to her vibration. And that's easy to do because the airline was a willing, compliant partner in giving her what she expects. There are so many willing, compliant partners all around you giving you what you expect. And when they give you something that you want, that you've been expecting, you say, oh, blessed, compliant, co-creative partners of the universe. But when you get something that you don't want, you say, damn you. And what we want you to understand is it's all in your hands. It's all in your vibration. It's all in your perception. So you want to ask, well, if something is happening, isn't it right that I perceive it? And we say, yes, that's step one. Perceive what's happening. Notice what's happening. Have the experience of what's happening. Let life hit you right between the eyes. Take what's happening and take your normal response. You know why we say that? Because you have no choice. You have no choice than to live it as your current vibration allows it. So if something causes a complaint in you, it also causes a new asking with great clarity, which you are unlikely to align with if you're still facing the reality. So once the new desire has been launched, then you got to find a way to not let the other one be active. Now, this is something that we really want you to hear. If you could just launch your new rockets and never think about the thoughts or the experiences that caused you to launch those new rockets, you'd just be moving through life, launching new rockets. Things would just be getting better and better and better and better for you. But you have this humanness about you, which is a really good thing because it's what helps you to be able to explore the contrast. Exploring the contrast matters so much because your exploration of contrast is what causes you to continue to launch the new desires. And it's what keeps all things moving forward, because without new asking, there could not be new experience. But what trips you up is your proclivity, your habit, your usualness of giving more attention to what is and less attention to how you feel. More attention to what is and not enough attention to what's in the state of becoming. So it could have been helpful to Esther to, at the sign of a first wheel getting broken off of something, she dragged a bag through the airport in some faraway country with only one wheel. It was like a sled. It was pretty far. Made her pretty mad. Hurt her elbow. She conjured up a lot of thought about it. For days and days and days, her elbow hurt. And every time her elbow hurt, she thought about it again. She got quite a bit of momentum going toward it because it just seemed like the natural knee-jerk thing to do. This is what happened, and it happened to me. And she told the story to a lot of people. Everybody she knows about that. It was entertaining. My suitcase was a sled, a 49.9 pound sled. It was a mile through the airport. So somewhere along the line, you have to decide that the satisfaction factor matters more to you than the reality factor. You have to find a way of reaching for the best feeling thought that you can find, or stopping the thought altogether, which isn't easy because every week she takes another suitcase somewhere. And those suitcases just remind her of each other. And they're falling apart at about the same speed. Every suitcase, no matter how much she pays for it, and no matter how guaranteed to stay together it is, she can defy the logic of all of that with her powerful mind. And so can you. Your reality morphs and becomes just as you expect it to be. Your expectation is everything, because your expectation is a long thought. A belief is a thought that you continue to think. And the reason that you continue to think the thought is because law of attraction has it going. Law of attraction is making the thought have momentum. So you have to find a way, Esther has to find a way to think different thoughts about some things. And when you find a way to think some different thoughts about some things, then they improve. But how do you jump into that? It's so vivid. It's so vivid. The experience is so vivid, and we're just talking about suitcases. Terrible suitcases. So what we're encouraging is that while it is nice to think about a thought, if you can, usually you can't. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. We know you'll work it out. Law of attraction is this wonderful law and this powerful, consistent friend that always responds to the vibration that you're offering. So if you want to know what the vibration is that you're offering, then just pay attention to what you're living, because it points it out. And it isn't the easiest thing. In fact, it isn't even possible to take a thought about something that you don't like and turn it into a thought that you do like. You just cannot do that, because law of attraction has the momentum going in another way. But what you could do is you could slow all thought down so that there's no momentum, and then pick up and allow the momentum to begin to build. And as you allow that pure positive emotion to become pure positive motion, then things start moving better in your life. There are so many things that Esther knows that are wonderful in her life now that one time were not, because she has allowed that. But it's these day-to-day things. You see, you often think that it's these big things that you're thinking about that are holding you in places of resistance, but it usually isn't some big philosophical, world-changing things that are making up the bulk of the vibration that you're offering. It's usually your response to the wheel coming off your suitcase. It's usually the little things that you're tripping over on a day-to-day basis that hold you in a vibration of really not maybe expecting that your world should be as satisfying as your world really should be. We want, in the hours that we are together today, to help you come to the place where you know for sure that life is supposed to be really, really good for you, where you discover some ways of being more and more and more and more satisfied about more and more and more and more things. And we don't want you to be taking score. We're not going to lay out for you all the wonderful things that are happening for Esther against this suitcase curse that she's got going on. But we want you to understand that all of you are living those kinds of things where you were touched by something earlier on, where you're carrying forward some patterns of thought that are not serving you well. And we want you to understand that you could find that across the board and you could do something about it as you meditate and quiet your mind and find yourself in a place of non-resistance more and more and more and more and more. We don't want you to stop living life. We want you to be out there, and we want life to come to you as you have vibrationally prepared it to come to you. We think it is a wonderful thing when something wonderful happens and you say, I did that. I recognize the pattern. I witnessed the unfolding of me in the unfolding of that. But we also want you to notice that when something is happening that you don't like, that you're able to say, I did that too. I take complete credit. We didn't say responsibility because everything that comes is good. I take complete credit for the unfolding of my life and for each and every detail that I get to tweak and mold into the satisfying perfection of my life experience. And once you get the hang of this, you'll bless every wheel that falls off everything, because it's just an indicator to let you know that you had some resistance about something. Now, if you go back far enough, everything has a root. What vibrational basis would cause her suitcases to be falling apart? Could it be an awareness that she's moving about quite a bit? Her awareness that there are a lot of moving parts in all of that? There's always some vibrational basis that is active within you that you've got to find some way of resolving, because if you don't, it will manifest. Esther might like it if she could just sit in some beautiful place that she likes to be, and you would just all come there to see her. But she knows that it is your path of lesser resistance. If she comes here, it's a few airplane tickets, but all of these people are on an airplane every week, and sometimes it's sort of a long day getting there. And so there's this feeling of less satisfaction, but that's the key. You've got to find a way to find satisfaction as you are moving through whatever it is you're moving through. And then everything that you're moving through in the absence of resistance becomes the blissful now reality. Does it really matter where you are standing or what you are doing if in the middle of all of that you are blissful? Does it really matter what state or what country or what place or what airplane or what vehicle or what seashore that you are standing on if you are feeling satisfaction? And that's the thing that we want you to come to as we are playing together today. There is the possibility, there is a powerful probability, it is for certain that you can reach the place where you can stand anywhere at any time and be so in sync with the perfect evolution and unfolding of your experience that satisfaction can be your dominant experience. And when it is, everything that you live will reflect it.